Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer and thank you for tuning into this video. I am bringing you 30 reasons to invest into silver. I have written out and brainstormed this list to make a straightforward video response to cover all the many reasons people might invest into precious metals. So let's jump right into it. So why buy silver? Number one, because the US is $23 trillion in debt. If you go to usdebtclock.org, it shows a live counter where you can actually see how fast we are pumping these dollars out into a system building hyperinflation. It really captures the seriousness of our situation because it shows all the numbers in the red, and it doesn't even just cover fiat currency, it does cover gold, stocks, everything else as well. So if you guys want to check that out, I definitely recommend it. Number two, because our financial system is a double-edged sword. Trying to build money and build credit on a system that's collapsing is definitely a contradiction, and it's going to bite you in the butt. If you don't invest into assets like precious metals, then you are setting yourself up to be in a severely tragic and risky situation in the future. We are trying to literally dig ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt, and that's never going to work. Number three, because hyperinflation is collapsing the dollar. The dollar has lost nearly 98% of its purchasing power, which means you can only buy 2% of the stuff you used to be able to, and this is only going to get worse in the future. If you have your money in savings accounts, the stuff you can buy today, you will not be able to buy tomorrow. That's why we transfer our wealth into precious metals, as it's a preservation, it's a time capsule to store our money as the dollar deflates. Number four, because it's the only asset with intrinsic value. Gold and silver have intrinsic value, which means it's valuable within itself regardless of what the fiat currency price of that silver coin is. The metal content is where the real value is, not the fiat currency pegged to it or the dollar amount pegged to it. And that's where gold and silver truly do shine. Number five, because silver has been deemed valuable for 6,000 years. It's been used in biblical times. It was used with the Egyptians as magic because it could purify water. It's actually the longest tradable currency that's been used as a monetary form since the beginning of man. Number six, because it's extremely undervalued. Silver is an extremely undervalued asset, especially comparing it to gold. The gold to silver ratio is around 90 to 1, but it comes out the ground roughly 9 to 1. In historical, the ratio is around 40 to 1. So that means silver either has to appreciate or gold has to depreciate. So silver's the underdog and it's extremely undervalued with a lot of potential. Number seven, because it's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity. Silver reacts with electricity and technology, electronics like no other metal, especially for as cheap as it is. So this gives silver a very big one-up on other metals and also big business companies because they can lower the cost of their products and their profit margins are rising because they can use so much silver for this cheap. Number eight, because a lot of silver is lost, not to be recovered from jewelry and electronics at the rate that gold is. Now, when it comes to gold, a lot of people melt their rings down, their jewelry, their necklaces, even bars and coins. But silver, it's not as profitable to scrap silver out of technology, out of cell phones. So a lot of it's being lost, which means even though it's coming out the ground roughly 9 to 1, a lot of silver isn't being recovered at the rate that gold is, so that ratio is actually smaller. Number nine, because silver can be used for a means to trade and barter in uncertain times. Silver's always been seen as money, and definitely if there was an SHTF situation, silver would be the form of trade in a currency asset or a currency aspect because it holds its value. Fiat currency is just a dollar bill, it's a piece of paper, but gold and silver have real value, so this is always looked at it from a monetary form, especially if there isn't a government or if something happens in the economy, which would be tragic or an event. Number 10, because it's the perfect hedge against the dollar. As the dollar is depreciating, you can transfer your money into silver, which holds its value over time. So as other people's money in their bank accounts are slowly burning, Your gold and silver are actually preserving your wealth. Number 11, because it's still cheap. Even when silver's $17, that's still a cheap price and that's still easily affordable for a lot of people compared to gold, which is $1,500. So you can still build up a lot of silver and stack a lot of ounces for extremely cheap, making it even more attractive for the everyday person. Number 12, because it teaches patience and educates the value of a dollar. Silver stacking definitely teaches a lot of patience because it takes time to learn, to educate, and also to accumulate a lot of silver. It also teaches you your wants versus needs, and I also learned that just because I can buy something doesn't mean I can afford to buy it. Number 13, because it's the only physical asset you're in complete control of. When I'm holding my gold and silver, I am in complete control of my wealth. When in other instances with banks and cryptocurrency, you're giving your wealth over to the hands of another exchange or another bank or another system. Number 14, because it's a way to transfer your wealth as the dollar loses its purchasing power. Now, like I said before, a lot of people do have their money in savings accounts, and gold and silver are the perfect solution. Now, the dollar is deflating and it's not going to be able to, it's not something we can fix. All we can do are find alternatives and to take, things into our own hands. So, gold and silver are the perfect solution for that. Number 15, because every other investment is digital. We are definitely in the digital age now. There's cryptocurrency, stocks, bonds, options markets, futures contracts, ETFs, which is all digital. But if there was a power outage or anything along those lines, you and your money would be gone, which you cannot be recovered. So physical precious metals, physical bullion is a perfect investment to definitely protect yourself from stuff like that. Number 16, because silver plays an important role in the medical world. There's silver nanoparticles in colloidal silver. It purifies water. It's used for dental alloys. And silver is a huge, huge beneficial factor in the medical world, which a lot of people don't even know about and aren't educated with. But this is also a huge, this plays a huge influencer on silver's price because we're experimenting and we are creating and learning new things that silver can be used for, not only in the industrial and the technological world, but also the medical world. Number 17, because it comes out the ground 9 to 1 compared to gold. Now, even though the ratio is 9 to 1, meaning every 9 ounces of silver, we dig out 1 ounce of gold, this ratio is actually smaller because a lot of silver is lost. But also, I want to look at it with comparing it to the gold to silver ratio. If the gold to silver ratio is 90 to 1, but it only comes out the ground 9 to 1, that shows you how much more potential and how undervalued silver really is. Number 18, because it teaches you to separate your wants versus needs. I learned to sacrifice Starbucks every morning and really learned how to budget my money to earn and to accumulate more silver. And this is something you're going to learn along your journey as well. You're not always buying the new shoes anymore. The new clothes don't always matter. You learn how to separate this to accumulate more silver, to buy more silver, because that's where the real value is. Number 19, because it brings a new perspective on our financial system. This is definitely one that really has helped me. I didn't really understand how everything worked. A lot of the market is speculation, especially when it comes to assets like cryptocurrency, but gold and silver do teach a lot of how the economy runs, not only from a financial standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint, from a political standpoint. And this is definitely beneficial to kind of understand how other people think and understand how other people are going to make decisions, which could also help you in investing into certain assets and investments. Number 20, because understanding how speculative the economy is can be extremely beneficial. And this can also be extremely profitable. This is how I made a lot of money with cryptocurrency, but I'm also using and applying the same tactics for gold and silver as well. When I hear stuff like Merrill Lynch manipulating silver markets with trillions of dollars, I know this could bring panic and a little bit of fear, and silver might dip down for a couple of days. This is a prime example how you can use speculation and use the market insights to your advantage. Number 21, because you are in complete control of your wealth. When I have my silver, when I store my silver, nobody can touch it. Nobody can tell me how much I have. When it comes to banking and cryptocurrency, all of that is at jeopardy. Number 22, because you get to learn the history of these coins and the stories they tell. This is one of my favorite ones because this is how I got into silver stacking. It felt like I owned a piece of treasure, a piece of history, especially when you have constitutional silver and other stuff like that. It really is a piece of history. They don't make these coins anymore, which brings numismatic value and extreme rarity. 23. Because it's globally accepted form of money. This is so true. Like with the US dollar, you can only spend it in America. With the Canadian dollar, you can only spend it in Canada. But gold and silver, you can take anywhere in the world and it's all the same value from the same perspective, which is a really, really unique gift. And that really does show how unique and how much character silver has and also how beneficial it could be in a society. 24. Because no other asset performs the way silver does in technology. I actually made a video the other day talking about if silver could become worthless, if something else could replace silver, but looking at all the statistics and looking at the historical patterns of it, nothing else competes with silver, not even close, especially for as cheap as it is. So silver is going to become more needed and it's still going to be extremely beneficial in the technological world and industrial world more than ever, especially as we keep making new investments and new creations and inventing new things with it. 25. Because we need more silver as we expand into the technological era we're advancing in. So with silver nanoparticles, there's a lot of scientists doing a lot of new research, a lot of new studies, and we're inventing new things for silver. And this is going to be extremely important, and it's going to be an extremely influencing price perspective or price point for silver in the near future, as everything's moving to technology, especially with electrical cars and everything along those lines. Also, silver is used in a lot of solar panels, and a lot of new inventions are becoming relevant with solar technology, like housing and even solar cars, solar technology. So this is going to play a huge portion, a huge indicator with silver's price. Number 26, because it's the safest investment in the world. I definitely don't think any other investment is as safe as silver is. Every other investment can be speculative, you can lose money, but with silver, it's always money regardless of what the price does to it. So it's always going to be valuable. So there's no other investment in my opinion that it can be anywhere near as safe as silver is, because no matter what, it's money itself. Number 27, because it's reaching all-time highs for the year. Gold and silver have broke past $1,500 and $17. This is bringing momentum into the market. It's bringing new investors, new eyes, and the media is covering it in a positive light, which definitely is going to be very beneficial for silver's price in the future. I also think that the more people understand the benefits that it has and the uses that it has, it's going to also drive them to stick around for the long term as well. Number 28, because silver was $50 in 2011 and can easily happen again. I think a lot of people forget how recent it was when silver was $50 and that not too much was happening in the economy that isn't happening or going to be happening soon again. We have the 2020 presidential election happening, the Fed rate cuts, and a lot of other things that are going to be specifically influential on silver's price. Number 29, because it's an extremely diverse asset giving several directions to stack and multiple ways to make profit. This is really true because there's so many different types of silver, there's so many different directions you can go, and also you can make money on top of spot price even if you're just buying bullion or semi-numismatic coins. Number 30, because you want to take control of your future. I mean, it's as simple as that. The end game is financial freedom, and gold and silver definitely offer a realistic opportunity for that. I know a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck that, are struggling, but once you get into precious metals, you learn how to budget your money, you start making money, you start saving money, and it goes on from there. And that's the most beautiful gift in the world, being able to support yourself, support your family, and also make your dreams come true. Your futuristic goals, expectations, and whatever you want can happen when it comes into the world of precious metals. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I make daily videos, so stay tuned for those. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys soon. Peace.